My name is Rylan Clark. I'm the Community Engagement and Relations Manager here in South Boston, Virginia. We did this because we were going through the factory with the new Hitachi Energy, rebranding, going through a lot of things and updating, and we found a lot of information. We found old drawings, we found maps, we found old VHS videos, and honestly, we didn't know what a lot of it was. And so we would go around like, hey, you know what this is? You know what this is? And no one really knew what it was. And so first thing that came to my mind was we've got to somehow, get this history back. And so I worked with some people here that knew a lot of the retirees that have been here, and I said, can we get in touch with them, see if they'll come back and just try to reestablish the history. It just helps to create that continuity to know where we came from. And I was able to show them some of the pictures and the aerial shots and the drawings, and they knew so much about it. And then also the video that we showed them, they were able to give us the history behind the video and who it was, who the original staff was here. They gave us that. And it's just being able to reestablish that history so that we know where we came from, because I was afraid we were going to lose it forever. And so I'm really happy that we're able to get here today and just keep it and really cement it for future generations to come, so that when those high school students we're talking to now finally come here and work, we'll be able to show them this video and they kind of understand why we're here, where we came from, and why we're here today with Hitachi Energy.
Well, I started in 1947 at Sharon Westinghouse, and I was a draftsman, and I worked there for 20 years before I came here. But I worked on the power center and the pad mount network, and also the 10 NBA. I was the lead programmer on the 10 NBA drafting part, the engineering part, not the core and coils, but everything above that. I was the lead engineer, lead draftsman, or lead programmer on that, so that was my job. Well, when we came to work here, it first started when we were converting programs. Our computer here, we had a mainframe we were working with. It wasn't large enough to work on engineering programs, and we had to go up to the UVA. We'd go up at night and work at night and sleep during the day. We'd go 2 or 3 days at a time. I remember one time the boss sent me up there. I ran up there and ran a program and brought it back that same day from Charlottesville. But that was the way it was. I mean, But this plant was a joy to work in. It really was. It was a great plant. We had a great plant manager, and it was just a well-run organization. We used to have in those days, every quarter they'd have a quarter meeting for the exempt employees, and then they'd have a big dinner for everybody at the country club 3 times or for every quarter. It was just, they really did a good. It was nice, You have a good company here and a good plant now. I would assume Hitachi's going to be the same as Westinghouse, because Westinghouse was an excellent plant, and be thankful you have it. And do your job and do a good job, and you'll do fine here. That's my opinion. They'll do fine here. These people are good people down here. They really are.
My name is Corky Stearns, and I started with Westinghouse in June of 1951, and I started out as a junior draftsman. And the environment there at that time was union controlled, so you had to bid on jobs and so forth. So I progressed to the point where then I was drafted into the Army, and I went into the Army for 2 years. And when I came back out of the Army, it was 1959, and that's just about the time that Westinghouse was starting to get into computerized drafting. The big changes basically were the adventure of moving on in computer design and logic, and all the improvements that we made, and the time that it took to do things. That's basically the biggest change. Of course, we added, like for example, in that video, those computer-generated drawings were all under my area. The machine for doing all that was in the computer room, and that's probably a very important item there to mention. As I said, my area was responsible for the release of manufacturing information So every day I had a fellow, he would take the day's output and he would have to package all the output, and then we would have a computer-generated sheet of paper that would tell all the numbers of the drawings that had to be sent with that manufacturing information. So then he would have to go to a file cabinet and pull microfiche of all those drawings and print them out. The thing I enjoyed most was working with all the people and training them and seeing them progress. And we had a real good family relationship. You know, everybody got along. And I would say everybody was treated fairly. And like I said, we all worked hard, but that kept us out of trouble. But I'm really glad to hear that Hitachi is making an investment in this plant, because we have good people in this area, and they're good workers, and they deserve this. Listen to advice from more senior people. Try to learn from their experiences, because once those people are gone, then it's going to be up to you to follow through.
I'm Betty Ford Mealy, because when I came here I was Betty Ford. I'm married, have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. I actually started in the Vons Motel. I told them that was an interesting story. No, my dad knew one of the people in town who was instrumental, I think, in dealing with the Westinghouse when they came down here. And they were going to send a wage and hour survey team down. And they wanted somebody to do the clerical work, to type up what they were going out in the community and interview the different companies and salaries and benefits and things like that. And I'd just gotten out of school and waiting to get a job. So I came for an interview in the Vons Motel, and they had set up like an office there. And I told them, yes, I'd be glad to do that. So that was my start. They set up training centers in South Boston for people to come and learn what to do before the plant was ready to move into. So we took a lot of applications and filled those positions. I really enjoyed Westinghouse. It was good to the employees. It had a lot of community activities. They had a lot of activities for the employee families. They'd have a picnic every year. They'd have Christmas dinners for all the employees every year. They would support bowling teams and basketball teams. I was on a bowling team, and other things, and like I said, in the community. They were just an all-around great company to work for, and I was so lucky to have gotten in the beginning, so to speak. I heard that they are doing a lot of upgrades. Well, in the picnic area, for instance, I always loved the picnic area. We had softball games there and horseshoe pits there and employee picnics there. So that part was great. I've heard that they've done a lot inside the building, which today, like I said, is the first time I've been in here. So I'm anxious to kind of look around a little bit and see more things. But I just hear that, and like I said, it sounds like that they're moving forward, and it will help in the community as well as with the people that work here. And always, be on top of everything and try to do your best to be friendly, and I think, that kind of thing, a smile a day goes a long way, as they say.
My name is John Bossiker. I'm an electrical engineering graduate from Virginia Tech. I graduated in '66, came here to work in '68. My wife and I have 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. Both of them are electrical engineers, and the daughter's an architect, so we stayed in the math field, I guess. And I worked here from 68 to 2003 and I retired then in 2003. I worked as a facilities engineer, a manufacturing engineer, a test engineer, and my last job, the last 10 or 12 years, I was a facilities manager. And I retired as a facilities manager. When I moved here and came to work, where we're sitting now was a big pile of red dirt. And where the plant was, there was a roof and some columns and the walls weren't up. So we as a startup group had an office built in the southwest corner of the building back there, about a 20 by 30 office, and we worked out of there trying to get the building going. And this was a tobacco ground. You could see the rows out around it where they raised tobacco. And was told by some of the people that had lived here, we were staying right in the middle of a drive-in movie theater that was here before the tobacco ground. Most of the important changes that were really impacting the building was done in the last half of my career. I was involved with a process called DC core sizing that sized the cores to be stacked, and we eliminated the roof oven. So the top of the roof, all that was cleaned off. Then there was another project called low frequency heating, and it processed the transformer in its tank, and that illuminated all those big ovens all over the floor. So that was two of the projects I saw in the last part of my career that I thought made a big impact here to ABB. And another one was we air conditioned the core winding shop to keep the moisture from going into the paper so you didn't have to process it out. And that's probably the biggest ones while I was involved here. Well, I tell you, when I hired with Westinghouse, there wasn't many people, then they added people here. But the thing that impressed me the most is the people that they added. They were people that you worked with, was always willing to get a solution, always willing to do what you want for them. And Westinghouse lot added multiple family members. There was lots of people would be a father, son, and family hired, and it was a family atmosphere. In fact, today, my son works here and my grandson both. So we all three generations work here. So working as a team with these people over the years, it was really rewarding in their dedication. And making a place successful is the people you depend on and the way they work and their loyalty and their ability to work and solve things. And Westinghouse and ABB were like that when I worked for them. I think it's great because it shows that Hitachi is putting money into this plant to keep it, and it has a future. They're doing something to make it have a future, and that's great. It helps to develop the employees, hire more people, and nothing stands still. You have to improve an operation or it'll just die if it stands still. And they're making this step, and I think it's great for the community. I think it's great for the employees in this plant, and great for the people in the area. And it's just great, I think. Yeah. My advice to the employees here is to work hard and work with the company and be dedicated. And I think you'll have a great future here. I see the Hitachi doing some things, like improving relations with the community, just improving relations with the retirees, because we are out there talking to people too all the time. And I think the benefits are good, and I think they're doing things to help their employees. And I think the employee that comes here and has a job is a good decision.
I go by my nickname, Joe Floyd, is the last name. My real name is Levon Ray Floyd, but I've always gone by Joe, my nickname. After graduating from the University of South Carolina with an electrical engineering degree, I started with Westinghouse the first week of September 1967. From there, I was put in a manufacturing engineering department where I accepted a job for the South Boston plant. I was the second manufacturing engineer hired after Art Lambrick who was the first manufacturing engineer hired for the South Boston plant. We were the first engineers on site while the plant was being constructed. I retired at the end of 2009. I was a senior manufacturing engineer. Over the years, I had the responsibility of the tank shop, which included the welding operations, the metal fabrication operations, and the painting operations. In addition to that, I had the responsibility for coil winding, insulation fabrication, and conductor fabrication. I had the responsibility of buying the equipment, installing the equipment, and training on how to use the equipment, as well as troubleshooting any issues that came up. It was getting to know and training and working with the people in the shop. I am most proud of the fact that my name is on one of those patents related to the panel cooler design for the network transformers. So I saw the changes in the plant, especially in the coil winding area and insulation area, that allowed both men and women to operate the equipment. Another important change that was made was the paint systems that were developed by Westinghouse Corporation with the guidance of the South Boston plant. I remember getting a phone call from someone from General Electric asking me what paints were we using in South Boston, because we were not having field problems like they were. I refused to reveal what we were using because it was developed specifically for us at the South Boston plant. One of the most important changes was that when we changed from Westinghouse to ABB, it was after we changed to ABB that the second building was added to construct a larger transformer. I always thought South Boston was a great place. I really did. The people were good. The area was good. Your weather. For a lot of things that moved from Sharon, Pennsylvania, up there you had to worry about ice, snow in the wintertime, and very seldom did we ever have any kind of weather conditions in South Boston. Plus, I thought that the cost of our energy cost there in South Boston was very decent, as far as the cost for operating the plant. I hope Hitachi treats its employees as well as Westinghouse and ABB treated me and my family. Our whole family has fond memories of Westinghouse in particular, as we enjoyed the Christmas with the gifts for the children, the skating and the movies, etc., in addition to the picnics and other activities planned around families.
Joey Chandler. I've been with Hitachi Energy for 23 years. A lot of my career has been in the Bland, Virginia facility. Today I'm a regional factory manager with responsibilities for South Boston as well as the Bland, Virginia facilities. The recipe for any location is always the people. You can have the right products being produced by the wrong people, and it's not going to work. And so the recipe is to have the right people with the right skills, talents, motivations, and leadership to make you successful. And that's the key. Yeah, the expansion's really big. It's big in meeting the needs of the market. It opens back up some products that we don't offer currently as a company. It also sends a clear message to the community that we're here to stay. To make that type of investment in the community says we have confidence in the community, we have confidence in the people, and we're here to stay. This is a large site. We have 2 buildings here already, over 600,000 square feet under roof, and we have 118 acres of property. And there's a lot of future potential for the facility, and that really makes a nice statement around that.
Employee engagement is all around it. The employees get a say in everything we do. So they're part of the change, they're part of moving forward with the facility, they're a part of everything. So if we keep the employee in the center, we do things to help them personally, we do things to help them from an educational standpoint, and we do things to help them at their everyday job that they're working. So if we support them in those 3 areas, I think it creates a work-life balance that we all can enjoy and appreciate. And as long as the employee is in the center, we will continue to be successful here as long as Hitachi Energy is here.